Right, hello. Somebody commented on some of the recent palm videos I've done about different species, so they said would I do a video on cordylines, so let's do it. So I'm starting out the front. Got a couple out here, so we'll start with this one, which is quite a nice one. This is a cordyline can, which, as you can see, it comes out nice variegated red, pinky, and then sort of fades to a green afterwards. So it's sort of quite interesting one there with the two different colours. Really quite different to your standards. I've got a couple more in pots here, and I have no idea what the species is. I mean, you could be forgiven to think that's an Divisor from looking at the back, but it isn't. The leaves aren't wide enough, but it's not your standard Australis. So I don't know what these are. This from B&M, but I noticed they looked a bit different, so I don't really know what them ones are. And of course, cordyline superstar there, which I've done videos on the past, which are a bit like the red star but thicker and bolder colour. Real good looking cordyline. Right, so there's a couple we've got out the front. Let's have a look at the ones we got down the back here. So I will just shut the gate. Right, so walking down the side passage here. The old trough plant is looking okay. Right, so starting at the bottom of the garden, looking at cordylines. I've got a couple of red stars, small one there and a bigger one there, intermingled with the yuccas just to give some colour contrast. So yes, quite a standard one you'll see in your supermarkets and DIY centres, garden centres. I don't know how easy I'm going to get to this. You can see that at the back there. I've got a very large pot there. I think that's cordyline electric mint or something like that. So it's kind of a brown leaf with yellow and then these streaks of green in the leaves, which are quite unusual. I've seen them about. I mean, when I first bought that, that's the first time I'd ever seen it. I got that last year, but since I have seen them in B&Q, so that's sort of a one to look out for. It's quite an interesting looking one. Right, so another fairly common cordyline you'll see is the Torbay Dazzler, or variegated cordyline, which is there. It's got quite a nice sort of tricolour look to it, with a slightly pink midrib and dark green and light green variegation. You're not going to see it, but there's a small purple passion cordyline. I'm not going to pick it up on video, I don't think. It's tucked behind the Washingtonia there. But also got a pink passion here. So this is the really pinky grey version, which the purple passion is very similar to this, but it's a lot deeper purple. But yeah, that's quite a nice one, a bit of an unusual colour that really gives a sort of a different feel to all the greens. So again, another superstar there, the glossy foliage. So the difference between the superstar and red star is the red is matte and a lot thinner leaves, and the colours are nowhere near as vivid as what this superstar is. Right, so Panning round. Got another small can here, which doesn't look as good as the one out the front. This one was a very small plant I bought reduced a year or two ago. And in fairness, there's actually two there, sort of pupped. So there's a small one there. So I think that might be a year or two before that looks its best. So come along, the increasingly harder to get hold of Divisor, cordylines Divisor. So this is the one that a lot of people have got and think they've got and they haven't, but it's quite distinctive with the orange midrib, and as they get bigger they look quite nice. They've got quite wide leaflets on them, so they are unusual but a bit temperamental. So we'll see. Let's get that snail off the leaf there. Right, so I think we've come to the point. We'll look at the Biggens. So these are two plants which are probably about 12 years old, but they're in pots for the first 2 or 3 years, so they've been in the ground for 9-10 years. I would say they didn't really I didn't have any trunk on at all when I went in the ground, so within 9 years you've got a good 12-14 foot of trunk on both of them. So this is the cordyline australis, which is the standard green. You'll see, you know, fairly common but still quite a nice looking plant. Needs no special care, just chuck them in the ground. They've got huge tap roots. Once they're in, you can move them. And the interesting thing about these is that, you know, if you don't want a huge plant like this, like say with the heads on them, they're a good 18 foot tall, I guess. But if you want to stump them off or keep them a bit dwarf, you can just literally get to the desired height, cut the trunk, and that'll branch off from there, and that'll be more or less the maximum height. So maybe if you've got a 6 foot plant, you could cut it off about 4 foot, and obviously that'd branch off and give you a couple more feet on the branching off. But so these are branched off naturally. So from this trunk, that one's branched off 3 times, and then from that 3 there's a good 2 or 3 off each of them. So that's why you get such a big head on them. Where this one is just branched off twice. Interestingly, you've got to seem to have a little one growing off the side there, and then that's obviously branched off again multiple times after that. And we've got the seed head still on there, which will tend to drop off towards the end of the year, and then they'll germinate next year. So we have got several which I've germinated and put in pots. So I've got these cordylines everywhere. There's one that's naturally self-seeded there, and I've just seen another one self-seeded there, volunteer if you like. That's interestingly, a lot of these, the red ones, will come out sort of brown. Some come out green straight away, and some come out brown. Obviously they all will green up eventually. So yeah, I've got hundreds of them about. This is a good example right here. Side by side, so you can see where it started off sort of brown, looked like sort of a little bit dead, but then it comes into the green afterwards. So I think that's going to do it for the cordylines. Out of all the jazzy new species you can get in all the different colours, my favourite I think is still going to be the superstar, just due to the wide leaves and the gloss, and just the contrast with the, you know, stick out in the middle of a load of greenery, and it just really does pop out. So yeah, that's my current favourite. Thanks for watching.